It's the Libertarian vice presidential candidate making some news. Bill Weld saying that when it comes to experience, Hillary Clinton is actually the most qualified to be president.
I'm not sure anybody's more qualified than Hillary Clinton to be president of the United States.
All right, now he's putting in the context of if that's what you wanted, and then someone who had the resume for the job, then Hillary Clinton is your candidate. Of course, he went on to say there's more to it than that. Gary Johnson, Libertarian nominee for president in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Keep in mind, he was governor there 2 terms in a row. Governor, good to have you. What did you make of what your running mate was saying?
Well, in the whole context of things, he said the right thing. Look, she's qualified. Donald Trump is not qualified, but Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, look, pay to play, taxes are going to go up. There's a certainty regarding that, and there's a certainty that she's going to be the most hawkish candidate if she gets elected president. I think we continue to drop bombs.
You know, Curt Schilling thinks that you would be a wasted vote. I was talking to him a little earlier, Governor. The former Boston Red Sox pitcher who's contemplating a run against Elizabeth Warren for Senate in 2018 there. And he was repeatedly disparaging your use of marijuana, your advocacy for easing up penalties for those who smoke marijuana. What do you make of that?
Well, I actually caught a bit of that interview, and he also said that I couldn't come up with the name of Putin as an admired foreign leader. So I'll just let all his comments stand on that one.
Do you think he had you know, despite, some slip-ups, and I'll include those of Governor Weld, and maybe that was unintentional, and obviously the question about Aleppo, and then later on, could you name a leader, that people are seizing on these gotcha moments as saying your libertarian dreams for the White House are over. What do you say?
Well, 5 major newspapers, the latest one being the Chicago Tribune yesterday, I thought that was terrific. Look, vote your conscience.
We should explain the Chicago Tribune is the latest major paper, you're right, to back you and say you're a better alternative than the other premier candidates.
Well, and they address the issue of wasted vote. Wasted vote is voting for somebody you don't believe in. Nothing's going to change if you don't vote for the person that you believe in, and I think we're offering up the best choice here for President and Vice President of the United States.
You know, obviously each campaign reads you a different way. Hillary Clinton was saying earlier this week, I think on her campaign jet, that you're essentially a wasted vote and that people should know voting for you or Dr. Stein running an environmental independent ticket. Nothing's going to happen. You're not going to get what you want. So she's the closest to what you want. What do you think?
Well, nobody's offering the unique combination that we're offering, which I think is reflective of 60% of America, and that is being fiscally conservative. And that's being socially inclusive, allowing people to make choices in their own lives. That's skeptical of our military intervention, skeptical when we go in and support regime change, and then supporting free trade, believing that ultimately free trade will lead to more U.S. jobs, not less U.S. jobs. So that's 4 legs of a stool that neither one of them come close. A couple of them got maybe a couple of legs of that 4-legged stool, but not all 4 legs. And you don't have to guess regarding outcomes. Both Bill Weld and myself, former Republican governors, we each served 2 terms in heavily Democrat states. We were not wallflowers. Look, we got things done. We pushed the limits. Were we liked? In heavily Democrat states, we were liked because we pushed the limits. I think a good indicator was when you upset both sides of every single issue, I always kind of viewed that as being successful. Look, nobody gets what they want, but we've got some really tough issues facing
no
this
doubt,
country.
But I think it's
the reform of Medicaid and Medicare and Social Security, and balancing the federal budget, $20 trillion debt, military spending.
The criticism that you get is those who question whether you are up on all these issues. The Washington Post, for example, this is just an editorial in one newspaper, I grant you, but goes on to say, do you prepare for your major interviews, let alone are you ready for being president? First, Mr. Johnson flubbed a question on the slaughter in Aleppo. An isolated moment of confusion might be understandable. Mr. Johnson then went on to call it another Aleppo moment Wednesday when he asked who his favorite candidate was. Goes on to say at the end, This is not a case of having to choose your head over your heart and vote strategically. Mr. Johnson is good-natured, but wholly unprepared and unwilling or unable to learn. What do you say?
Well, I have an aversion to misspeaking. So, you know, a couple days after the name a foreign leader that you can admire, I'm still having a hard time on that one. Foreign leader that you can admire? Look, having been elected governor of New Mexico, one of the big surprises that I had was that all these people that I looked up to politically, I got to meet for the first time. And you know what? A lot of them were just placeholders. They really weren't in it to press the limits of public policy. They really weren't in it to do what I'll call is right, really, to fix issues that are facing us. They were more in it for re-election, and that's something that I saw firsthand. That is an aversion that I have to politics, and I'll just point to my own record, having been governor of New Mexico. I was not a wallflower. I pushed these issues. Look, spending went down considerably. Looking at social issues, support of social issues, coming out more vocally than anyone in the country regarding the war on drugs. Advocating for school choice. You know, I was more outspoken than any governor in the country when I served regarding and supporting school choice.
All right, Governor, you argue your position very, very well. Just wanted to pick your brain on that and the latest. Very quickly, if you'll indulge me, sir, it seems the Hillary Clinton folks are more interested in ripping you a new one than are obviously the Trump folks, which leads me to believe that you're taking more from her than you are from him. What do you think of that?
Well, I understand that Hillary Clinton is now spending more money on discrediting our candidacy, myself and Bill Wells, than we have to spend. So what do you make of that? What do you make of that, America? Look, I guess when you cause concern, that's the next step is maybe really making a difference. There's still an opportunity to win here, but it's getting late in the game. Got to be in these presidential debates. And, Neil, we had this discussion earlier.
I know.
I am polling higher than Ross Perot was before he was allowed into that first debate.
No, I checked that, and actually you're right. You are. But there's different rules now. It doesn't look like you're going to be invited to at least this next one. We'll see what happens. Governor, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.